Welcome. Thank you for being here. My name is Carmen Surratt Lopez, and I have the privilege of introducing my friend Richard. But first of all, he wanted me to thank you for your generosity and your donations. Thanks to the donations you've contributed to this event. Richard has been able to generate over $575 to our fundraising event for Veterans First. So what's really wonderful about that is because of you and your contribution, we are very much closer to our big goal of $20,000. That's what Richard's leadership group has put together for Veterans First. And we decided to work with Veterans First because as a group we decided that that's the group that has sacrificed themselves the most, that have endured hardships and sacrifices really to help us live in this country and afford us the possibilities that we have. So I want you to turn to someone next to you and give them a high five and say, thanks for being here. There we go. Awesome. Thanks so much. So, although I have only known Richard actually a little less than 3 months, I have gotten to know Richard really well. As being in his leadership group, Richard and I have been in experiences that have been challenging beyond belief. And we have been there as support, trusting each other, pushing each other. He has always been by my side in these activities. And that's the Richard I have known to love and appreciate. The Richard that when he is in his heart, there is no equal to Richard. So I want everyone to welcome him in his debut of his first motivational speech. So before I turn it over, I know you're dying to hear what he has to say. I wanted to share the title of his speech. The title of his speech is
Power of Positivity.
The Power of Positivity. So you are going to learn what Richard has done to grow, to shift, to come to the place where he is now, to be able to put this event together, getting people here, finding the venue, putting his heart and soul into something he wants to give to you as a gift. You're going to be able to see where your life connects to some of his messages and to see how you can build positivity into things that you want to accomplish as well. So without any further ado, Richard.
It's pretty interesting being up here. I mean, this is obviously my first time ever up on a stage with so many people in front of me, speaking for 45 minutes about something that I've never done before, and just kind of just feeling it. So I guess just starting off, topic is power positivity. How many of you know the game Pac-Man? Raise your hand if you know the game Pac-Man. That's good, promising. I see a few question marks from my mom. It's the game where the little yellow circle that eats little dots. Waka 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 waka. So life is like a game of Pac-Man. There's a goal, there's an end goal to beat the game, and we have challenges like the ghosts that get in our way that make it difficult for us. And there's prizes along the ways like the little cherry or the orange that you get when you eat, you get bonus points. And life is like a game of Pac-Man. So today I'm going to share with you 3 of my like key points that really make me positive and have helped me on my journey to become where I am today. And the acronym is Pac-Man. P is perspective. Everything in our life is a neutral event. We as human beings decide if it's a positive or negative. The A, acceptance. When we accept ourselves for who we are, then we not only make peace within ourselves, but also we get to go forward and become better people. And C, confidence. Confidence is really about being okay with who you are in the moment. If you saw my YouTube video, and I know we have some Toastmasters people up here, I do the awkward dance. And it's really like, it's funny because like, I remember when I did that speech, I was feeling a little uncomfortable while I was doing it. I don't know if you guys recognize that. Yeah, see, apparently I was kind of faking it until I make it. But like now when I actually like do this stuff, like, it's like I'm at a place right now like where it doesn't matter anymore. I don't care what other people think about me in this movement. Of course, I'm not a perfect human being, and no one is. But I've come to peace with really being myself to a much higher level. And when we could do that to ourselves, when we allow ourselves to be comfortable with ourselves, that's where we can succeed. And of course, I'm just diving straight into confidence. But let's start with the P in Pac, perspective. When we look at the game of Pac-Man, you know, waka 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 waka, and we see Pac-Man is a game. Everything, like I mentioned before, everything in our life is a neutral event. It's a matter of perception. When we look at the game of Pac-Man, there is no, it's not good, it's not bad, but some people might perceive it as, oh man, that game is crazy, it's tough, it's annoying, it's so repetitive, it's boring. And other people are like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. And people dedicate their lives to beating the game, which is, does anyone know how many levels there are in Pac-Man? You could actually beat the game, it's 255 levels. Yeah, I could barely get past the first one. And when we look at perspective, when we look at everything in life being a neutral event, then after that concept is really ingrained, then you'll understand like why it's important and where it goes to. So let me give you a quick example. I have a dog, and had a dog, and he died yesterday. I'm hearing some ahs. Yeah. But it's great because I have no responsibility anymore to take care of a dog. You know, that didn't really happen. But the fact is, some people automatically want to, oh, that's so sad. Like that sucks. You know, and other people are like, or for me, I was being positive, and I'm sure the more responsible way of handling that situation is, if my dog did die, the more responsible thing in a positive light would be, wow, like how could I take away from this experience? What could I learn from this experience of my dog dying? And for me, if I had a dog, and when I think about that hypothetical situation, it makes me realize that life is short, and that we get to connect with our friends, our families, and the people that we love around us, because that's what's most important. So right now, I want to do like a quick activity. I want you to, in a second, I want you to talk to someone around you and tell them how your day was. Well, what did you do this morning, and what did you do up to this point? And facts, like everything, all the events are neutral. Remember that. So just facts, okay? But what I want you to do is pretend you're having the worst day ever. It's miserable. You feel upset, and you're just angry. You're like, oh my goodness, this is such a bad day. Okay, so reenact or tell the story of how your day was, being really pissed off. 30 seconds, go.
Ridiculous. And then, well, that's not the point. I didn't.
Dean, I could see you're very passionate about having a bad day today. All right, so now, same exact situation. Everything you just said also happened, but now I want you to say it like today you're excited, you're energetic, it's an amazing day, everything is perfect. 30 seconds, go.
Oh my God, so.
what did you all get away from that? What was something that you learned or thought about? Anyone? Tone? And how were they different? How was it, same exact situation, how did it feel being negative, how did it feel being positive? Yeah.
Bad days can be exciting.
Bad days can be exciting.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say just the energy. When I was talking to her about a bad day, it was just kind of like no one was really connecting.
Yeah.
When it was positive, it felt better.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So when we're negative, Tony was saying when we're negative, it's hard to connect, but when we're positive, it's contagious. Would you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. Connected. So every single moment in our life, we really have the opportunity to choose. We get to choose if we are going to act as a situation is, it's going to be a bad day or a good day. We have that opportunity to choose every single day. And I guess another personal example for me, when I started my journey of becoming a motivational speaker and a life coach back in January, I had a neutral event. The neutral event was I got let go of my job at Sony and I moved home with my parents. I could have been like, oh man, dude, I got fired from my job, or let go, whatever you want to call it. It's miserable, man. It's miserable. I don't have a job anymore. Like, not getting any money. All my friends have jobs. Have to move back home with my parents. Got to deal with them. All they're talking, and they're complaining. Or I could look at the positive, which I did. And the positive was like, you know what, this right here, the fact that they're letting me go is really an opportunity for me to reevaluate what is it that I want to do in my life. Do I want to keep working and have other people control my life, or do I want to take ownership of my own life? Do I want to keep doing things that I thought other people wanted me to do, or do I want to do things that I want to do? And I realized in that moment that I want to start doing things that I want to do. And I knew I wanted to help people. And the best way I could do that for me was really working on myself. And I found that through life coaching as well as speaking. And had that not happened, I might not even be up here, So really it was a blessing. It was really a blessing for me to get up off my ass and just do what I love and be passionate about. And moving back home, it was a choice. It was a choice. And when I looked at that, I'm like, you know what? It's been a while since I've connected with my parents. I've been off doing my own thing. I'll call once in a while, but I thought about it and I said, you know what? If I move back home, I could actually be closer with my parents and have that opportunity to connect with them because, again, life is short. And even though it's not everyday hunky-dory and I love, oh, I'm so excited to see you, sometimes it is. But it's like when I wake up in the morning and I always make an effort to remind myself, I get to connect with my parents more. I get to see them every day because some people don't. And, that just makes me realize, I'm sure some of you in the audience don't have your parents anymore or one or the other, And when I think about that, when I think about how lucky I am to be able to see my parents every single morning, that's a blessing. And I think, well, thank you all in the audience, people who don't have their parents anymore for being here and kind of showing us that we get to appreciate what we have. Because I think a lot of us, especially myself, I know that for sure, that I take my parents for granted. So, everything is perspective. I know I talked a lot about that, but we could either choose positive or choose negative. And I think the big question to ask really is not, should we choose positive or negative? Because I think it's obvious we choose positive, but why? I think the bigger question to ask you is, or ask yourselves are, which thought process is going to get me towards my goal? Which way of thinking is going to get me towards my goal? By always shifting into positive or hanging out in the negative? And for some of you, if you're like me, it's difficult for me. It's always difficult to shift into positive because we kind of get stuck in our own comfort zone of feeling pity or feeling bad for ourselves, and it feels good sometimes. We're like, oh man, I don't want to do work today. I'm gonna take a nap. Anyone take naps here? Thank you for making me feel good. I used to take naps all the time. But yeah, it's like, what are we going to do? You know, what is that reason? What's going to push us to keep making those positive decisions in our lives? And really, when I think about the power of positivity, I think about always making a positive interpretation of our events in life. I was hanging out with my friend at a coffee shop, a small one. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it. It's a coffee shop called Starbucks. And I'm pointing at my brother because he actually wrote that one for me. I know. I thought it was funny, so yeah. Okay. So it was cool because like literally I was just chilling at the coffee shop and there was a cup of coffee there. And if you ever, any coffee drinkers here? Awesome. If you go to Starbucks, they have like quotes on the sleeve sometimes. And let's see, I wrote down the quote. The quote was by Oprah. It said, "No experience is ever wasted. Everything has meaning." And this really resonated with me. I'm gonna read that again. No experience is ever wasted. Everything has meaning. And is that not perfect? It's like, if something feels negative, we have the opportunity to turn it into a positive. Everything has meaning. Nothing is wasted. So what I like to do is anytime I fall into a negative thought process, I stop myself as often as possible. And that's how we shift to the positive. Anytime you get into kind of like a negative thought process, it's about shifting. Like, wait, stop. Why am I thinking negatively? Why am I being upset at someone? Or why am I being upset at myself? And shifting that into, what does this mean? What could I learn from this? And when we have that mentality, that's how we're gonna get into being more positive. So that leads me to part 2, the A. The A is acceptance. And I think the biggest thing with acceptance is really just accepting ourselves. For me, I want to share with you kind of my background story because I think this is kind of why I'm here. So my background is, throughout my whole entire life, I used to have very low self-esteem. I used to have a good amount of accomplishments, like I was the lieutenant governor. I know we got some Key Club people over there. Thank you. Let's see, I was senior of the month. I was one year I held 6 officer positions and was part of 11 different clubs. So I would say I had a decent resume, but none of that meant anything to me. Like I felt like really, like I never felt like I was good enough because I always compared myself with my brother and sister who are these super awesome, successful human beings, you know? Well, that's what I thought. That was going on through my head. Something humble. So, I mean, my brother and sister, they both got, well, like 4.7 GPAs, varsity swim, they also got senior of the month. And anytime I'd fall short of that, I would beat myself up. I'm like, oh, not good enough. If I completed 9 out of 10 things that they did, still not good enough. I got to get 100%. And I never got there. It's unrealistic because I'm not them. And over the years, I've accepted that's okay. We have different paths in our lives. And my brother Kevin has his own path. I have my path, you know? And by accepting myself, by accepting who I am today, I actually appreciate Kevin more. I appreciate all the accomplishments that he has. He's currently a Target store manager, and at the age of 25, he became one, and he manages 200 to 300 employees. Like, that's pretty impressive. And I used to be, nah, whatever. Amy. And when I look at myself, when I see my own path that I'm carving, it's like, it's amazing because I'm really doing it because this is what I want to do. Pilar gave me my first dollar, like, you know, the one that you frame, and it's that symbol of this is the start to your business. And when she gave me that dollar, I was like, I don't know. It really touched me because when I think about what I do, I mean, I'm up here because, I mean, all the money is going to the veterans. You know, I do this because this is what I love to do. I do this because I want to add value into your lives. And not for the money, but getting that first dollar bill really made me realize that I do have a valuable service. You know, I could provide value into other people's lives. And well, thank you for giving me this opportunity to do that. And just going back to acceptance. When we accept ourselves for who we are, acceptance is really about accepting who we are and how can we use that to empower us into our futures. So I want you to think about what were some of the struggles in your life that maybe you made peace with already, or maybe that you're still in the progress of making peace with. What are some of those struggles? Are they around not feeling good enough? Or are they around your image? Is it around finance? And ask yourself in an empowering way, in a positive way, how has that helped shape you to become who you are today? Anyone want to share? No pressure. I'll share mine. So with me and just having low self-esteem, it's like at this point I don't see the need to have to replace my experience of like, oh, I wish I was confident. I wish I was confident in the past so I could be even more confident now and I could do even more things. Because having my experiences of not having that confidence makes this current situation right now more powerful. It's like, look, I'm here today. Like, I would not have thought I'd be able to be up here in a million years. And by having struggled so many years of not feeling like I was enough, like, makes this experience more positive. So it's really about, this goes back to perspective. It's about looking at how do we take a hardship, a negative situation, or something that we have negative energy around and turn it into a positive. It's about accepting that and using that to empower our lives. We got PAC, we got the C, we got perspective. For the A, we got acceptance, and for the C, we got confidence. In order to be positive, this is one of the most powerful things. And it really piggybacks off of the perspective, off of the acceptance, but confidence. Confidence is what carries me through, what allows me to push through all the hardships and really just keep going towards my vision. What is, just throwing out there, what does confidence mean to you? Strength.
Being grounded and knowing who I am.
Okay. Focus. Being grounded and knowing who I am. Courage. Yeah. Absolutely. It really is everything that you said. I mean, that's what confidence is. It's really letting it be a part of you. Confidence is, it's already within us. We have confidence within us. And I don't know if this applies, I think it's really by personality, but for younger people, I think it's hard to find that. We think confidence is out there, that we got to find confidence. Confidence is inside. We already have it. We just need to reach out and kind of dig through the crap to find it. So if you watch my YouTube channel, I made a video about this, but I just wanted to do a quick power share. And in the past 5 years, I've been on like that many dates. A few weeks ago, that's 7 days. In 7 days, that's how many dates I've created. And thank you. And it's like, I was so shy, I was so afraid to just go out there and ask people. Because I thought I was gonna get rejected. I thought I wasn't good enough, and all these other excuses. But when I dig through the crap and find my confidence, then it makes sense. Because this is who I am. And when I can do the awkward dance and like not care about what other people think about me, like that's why people hopefully like me for who I am. It's because this is me. And the same thing applies to you. That quirkiness, that whatever makes you who you are. Whenever no one else is watching, whenever you're in your car singing to the radio or rapping a tune or checking yourself out in the mirror, that's who you are. So just embrace it. Have fun with it. You know? Like, what's the shrug? My mom's shrugging. So like, when I'm at home, you know, my mom's there, my parents there, I'm making my YouTube videos, I always feel shy. I'm like, oh man, I hope my parents don't hear what I'm saying, even though this is going on to the public anyway. But it's like, be yourself. Be yourself. And when we kind of break free of what society thinks about us, then that's when we become who we are. And when we become who we are, that's when we could find that positivity, we could find that joy, we could find that freedom in our life. And the interesting thing about that, I was talking, or Vivian, my good friend Vivian was helping me put together my speech last night. And we were talking about society. Like, and another friend told me, like, we are society. We keep thinking society is a thing apart from us. But we are society. You know, it's not like society -1, we are part of it, you know? And we think, we're like, oh, you know, society, it's society's fault. But it's our fault. Like, we're part of the problem. So I think we as individuals, we get to break out of that. We get to bring ourselves and not fear judgment and just be ourselves. Because when we are being ourselves, that's really when we're being passionate, we're being connected, we're being loving, we're having fun, we're being joyful, we're really living ourselves. So life is like Pac-Man. You know? It's a game. We have us. We got Pac-Man, that's us. And a lot of times when we look at the game, there's 255 levels. A lot of us tend to give up, not a lot of us, but a lot of us, tend to get stuck in that first level. That's our comfort zone, our sandbox. We don't move anywhere. And we lose sight of, like, what's a big vision? Like, what do I want in my life? And I think when we shift a bunch of things, and that's why I think, well, first of all, why I think positivity is so important, and the power of it is when we become positive, when we just express ourselves, when we are free, when we're joyful, that's when we could just be open. We could really just we could just have fun. And I mean, to be honest, I don't know where I'm going with this specific portion of it, but I do want to say that I don't even know what I was going to say. And I don't care. Yeah. But yeah. Life, I don't know. I really think life is really like a game of Pac-Man. It's like, I see it as, we get stuck in the first stage, you know, repetitive motions. And like a lot of people, I'm just speaking from my personal experience when I say this, but I get comfortable in that first level, and I'll just keep murking around in there. Thank you, Arlene. And I don't see the end goal. I don't see like level 255. I don't see that end goal. But what I'm starting to realize, and I know there's a cliche phrase out there, it's not about the goal or the result, but it's really about the journey. And I absolutely believe that. Happiness, joy, the positivity, everything in life, like, we like to think happiness is at the end of the road. Happiness is along the road. Happiness is now. And that's with perspective. That's why I talk about perspective, because like for me, I always think I'll be happy once I have a car. I'll be happy once I have a family, a house, X, Y, Z. But right now is the only moment that really exists. Future's not guaranteed. Car could come in here and I'm not gonna go there. But be happy now. So that's really all I have for wrapping it up. Denise.
How did you create 5 dates in 7 days?
Thank you. I created just being open. I think, oh my goodness, that was so much fun. I'll tell you about them real briefly, but the first one was the most difficult one because it was the first time I ever asked someone out in the longest time. I thought someone was cute at a Toastmasters event outside, and I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go up to her and just tell her whatever I'm feeling in that moment. So literally, I was like, "Hey, I think you're pretty cute. You want to grab some lunch sometime?" She's like a date? I'm like, that's the one. And we went on a date. You know, pretty much all 5 of them. All 5 of them. It was just me being open. I said, "I think you're cute," and really, I asked people who I actually saw an authentic possibility with. So I saw something more than them just being cute. I told them I see that you're connected, or I see that you're loving, or you're passionate about something, and that I want to get to know that person more. And 5 out of 5. So yeah. Well, this is kind of a different kind of keynote. Thank you for starting up the Q&A. But I mean, that was kind of the end of my presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions and anything, really.
What's your YouTube channel?
My YouTube channel is youtube.com/RichardKuo Live. Yeah. And I post videos every single week. Yeah. Dean.
So for those of us that are stuck in that bottom level that you were talking about, how do you get out? How do you move up?
Bottom line, can you go a little bit more?
Game, you're talking
Yeah.
about so many
Got
of
it.
us are kind of stuck in the comfort zone at
Yeah.
the bottom level. And then you talked about the journey, but how do you get going if you're stuck in that level?
I have several thoughts around that. First thing is, it's about being clear on the vision, or having some anchor point, something that really is kind of juicy. That's what we have to find a reason, some sort of reason around why are we doing what we're doing, because that's what's going to drive us forward. And for me, it's helping people, even though I don't know that big juicy vision. For sure, this is what I want to do. I know my mission is to help people, so I'm going to keep using that to push me to keep going and keep going and keep going until I find that juicy end goal. This is what I want to do. And what really helps me keep pushing towards that direction and not giving up is, I would say, is really focusing out. And what I mean by that is, oftentimes we get stuck in certain places when we get complacent, when we're like, oh man, that's tough. I don't know if I could do that. When you have that doubt about yourself, when you have that, I don't know if I could do this, I'm not good enough, or whatever that negative talk is, that's focusing inside. This is what you're feeling. The emotions, the hardships, whatever it is, I can't do it. But when we focus out, that means we're looking outside. We're looking at, instead of focusing on all the negatives of I can't do this, if we spend 100% of our time focusing on what could I do for someone else? How could I help someone else's life? How could I get to this goal? What is that feeling? And if we spend 100% of our time focused over there, then we don't have time to focus on our oh, I can't do this. We're already out there. And you keep using that energy of keep shifting into, how do I help other people? How do I support people? How do I get towards my vision? And as long as you keep that mindset up, that's how you're going to get there. Yeah.
Good answer.
And thank you. And thank you for that question. I think it's an excellent question. On top of that, support system is absolutely critical. I mean, raise your hand if you're part of the transformational training program. Yeah. Thank you. See?
World works.
World works, exactly. We're all a team. All these people are here, really, we all support each other, and it's that support that's really helped me be here today and have all of you here today. Without the support, it it would have been very difficult for me to do this. Possible chance I might have given up, I don't know. But by having that support system, by having a buddy, by having a coach, by having people to really be there with you is what's going to help guide you and get you out of your crap and focus on the vision. So sign up for WorldWorks. Rob.
What's your favorite part about what you're doing now?
My favorite part about what I'm doing right now is really the breakthrough. What am I learning in every single experience? I think the biggest blessing that I've learned through this process of the WorldWorks trainings is really shifting the way I relate to the world. That thing I talked about, everything is a neutral event, and we get to choose what it is. Like the fact, before I'd be like, oh man, that sucks. It is what it is. Life sucks. And I accept it as that. But to be able to shift into, how did this happen? How did I make this happen? How did I create this problem? And I guess really take every single, the quote I told you about Oprah Winfrey, I'm gonna read it one more time. But like this quote totally resonates with me. No experience is ever wasted. Everything has meaning. If it's a negative experience, the training really helped me see every single opportunity as something to take away from. Oprah said it herself, so it must be true. Yeah.
What was your experience while giving this first keynote speech?
That's a great question. My honest experience, so my team always tells me this, but I tend to be in my head, which is like this clutter zone instead of being focused out there where like I'm really connected with people. And I noticed when I started the speech, and maybe you felt this, but I was kind of speaking to thin air a little bit. But the more I got into the speech, the more I started making eye contact with people, the more I started connecting with people, and the more I started to realize that it's about focusing outward. It's about focusing on what can I provide out there instead of focusing on, am I saying the right things? And I think thank you for asking the question. It's a perfect example. We're humans, we're not perfect. I'm not perfect up here. If you want to know, I put this speech together probably last night or something like that. I don't know. But the point is this is my story, and my goal is to be as real about it as possible because we're humans. I'm not going to pretend I'm something I'm not. And I do want to share something about my YouTube channel, and this is really interesting. 2 weeks ago, I kind of had a breakdown. And it was like, do I still want to do this? Do I still want to do speaking? Do I still want to do coaching? And there's so many reasons, like all those fears, like, oh, I don't think I can make it. They're always going to be there. But what's helping me push on is like building that resilience of, there's a reason why I signed up for this in the first place. There's a reason why I said I wanted to do this. And always connecting the dots back to, I'm doing this because I want to support other people in their lives and to make being better, being more positive, everything like that. And going back to my YouTube channel, I was, during my 2-week breakdown, or just recently, I was thinking about all of the YouTube videos I made every single week, and I'm like, oh my goodness. All my YouTube videos are so like, yeah, I know my shit. Listen to me, I got this stuff. But like now I realize the best way to serve other people, the best way to really add value to people's lives is to be honest, to be myself, to show that I'm not a perfect person, to show that I'm here and I put my speech together yesterday. Like maybe people are judging me, maybe not. I really don't care. It's like, because we all have our different stories and we all have our imperfections, but that's what makes us who we are. And again, it's about taking those imperfections and seeing how does this add value to my life. And it's making a story right now. I could look back and probably laugh at this speech like, are you kidding? That was your first speech? Hopefully it's decent. We'll see. Thank you, Denise. Yeah, Julie.
So in the beginning you were talking about positivity.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you do when you're having an experience and you're having not positive feelings about it? But those are your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And then how do you shift that into positivity? So that
Yeah.
what you said.
excellent question. The first part of that, so Julie asked if we're bipolar, when we are having like a negative emotion, would you say? How do we shift that into a positive experience? Because oftentimes we get stuck in it, like, oh my goodness, this sucks, like I don't want to deal with this or whatever. And the first thing is being vulnerable to yourself, being authentic, and as they say, really just feel how you're feeling in that moment. So be authentic. I'm feeling frustrated, I'm feeling angry. And the key thing is to not sit in that feeling for too long. Like, it's like vent it out for however, like quick, 2 minutes, whatever. And then after you vent it out, the next step is, okay, so now that I've released all that energy, that negative energy, in this moment, what could I do to move forward with my life or in this situation? Thank you so much for everyone coming out here. Literally, when I was going through the guest list, like each person in this room, I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm so happy you are here. Like, seriously. Because I've never felt so like kind of moved with each person. Like, I've never felt so connected, like each individual that came here. Looking at you, Keon, you know? Just, like, seriously, like, the fact that you made the effort to drive through the OC fair traffic to be here is amazing. Yeah. Yeah. And I think the key thing for me, the key takeaway for me is, like, the value of connection right now in my life. I've always, in my past, I've considered myself being kind of distant and disconnected, and like I don't want to be too close to this person because I don't want to get hurt, whatever. But this right now is making me realize like the power of like the community and really just being connected with people. So thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it.